Fraud ring that really started it all here in Minnesota, Feeding Our Future. The central figure behind that massive scheme was sentenced today to more than 4 decades in prison. Aimee Bock was executive director of Feeding Our Future, the nonprofit at the center of the $250 million pandemic fraud case, the largest in the entire country. And moments before learning her fate, Bock, who was sobbing, apologized. Gordon Severson was in the newsroom and joins us with details. Gordon?
Yeah, at 41 years, Aimee Bock's sentencing is the longest and most harsh out of anyone that has been involved in the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme. And prosecutors argue it should be, as the person who started the scheme and was the gatekeeper to all the money. Without her, none of this would have happened.
Dressed in a lime green jail jumpsuit, Aimee Bock appeared sad and anxious in the courtroom as she prepared to hear her fate. Her defense attorney was looking for a lenient sentence of just 3 years and restitution that would only include the money Bock personally received from the Feeding Our Future fraud scheme, just a few $1,000,000. Prosecutors, however, asked for 50 years and for restitution to be the entire $242 million that was taken. Minutes before hearing her sentence, Bock spoke up to defend herself, sobbing the second she stood up to speak, saying, quote, "I just want to tell everyone how sorry I am this happened. I understand I failed my family, the public. I failed everyone. I never meant to cause harm." Prosecutors responded, arguing, quote, "The government believes disabling her from participating in society ever again is the only just outcome." Later saying, quote, "Minnesota will never be the same due to Aimee Bock's actions, period." The judge agreed, issuing a sentence of 41 and a half years in prison, with restitution set at $242 million.
I think the judge got it right.
Former Assistant U.S. Attorney Matthew Ebert worked on the case before he and many others in the office resigned earlier this year.
This was an unprecedented crime in Minnesota and in our country's history, so it only makes sense that we have an unprecedented sentence, which is what the judge did here.
Ebert was among several former U.S. attorneys in the courtroom during the sentencing, including Joe Thompson, who was in charge of the office when Bock was on trial.
Well, it's a long sentence, and Aimee Bock did everything she could to earn it.
Thompson feels this harsh sentence will send a strong message to fraudsters in Minnesota.
The fraud in these government programs has gotten to epic proportions, and the judge is sending the message that it won't be tolerated and it will be dealt with seriously.
Bock requested to have her prison time served close to Minnesota so that she can be close to her family. The judge agreed to put in that request, but the Bureau of Prisons will have the final decision. I also briefly heard from Bock's defense attorney, and he says they haven't decided whether they will appeal the sentence today. If they do, the judge says they would need to file that request within the next 14 days.
All right. Thanks, Gordon.